Let's get the music here.
Live, you see it?
Not yet.
'Cause I'm a heartbreaker. They setting up down there too, ain't they?
Yeah. Ah, there we go. All right, I see us down there.
Setting up down there for real, for real.
Beaks, maybe move your water bottle, could you? It's a big water bottle. Thank you. Connecting to the chat. And
we is about to go live.
About to go live.
We about to go live. Coming to Facebook. Near you. YouTube. Support the channel.
That's right, that's right.
Roku.
A chance for the people's voice to be heard.
Are we live? Are we live yet?
We're close.
We close? He said we close, y'all. We coming. We are coming. We are coming live to Facebook near you. YouTube, support that channel. Roku and MCN number 6. We coming live, y'all. Live. Don't get no better than being live. This is Let's Talk About It Wednesday. We always got a lot to talk about. As Joseph Banks seeks candidacy for Hennepin County Sheriff. It is all good. Coming live. Coming live. Coming live. Don't go nowhere. Don't turn that dial. You don't need to watch anything else for the next hour.
All right, guys. It's all yours whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah. We are live. We are live. Okay, we got some more music. Got some more music. Yeah, there we go. We are live. We are live. We are live on Facebook, YouTube. Support the channel. Roku and MCN to the 6. Here we are, another fabulous day. It's kind of chilly outside, but it feels like that first, fall day, brisk, cool day. Just enough to kind of, put on a jacket and make you kind of think a few things. But some chili, something that'll warm your belly a little bit. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, another fabulous Let's Talk About It Wednesday. As always, we have a lot to talk about. But again, before we kind of get into all of that, this is a campaign platform for Joseph Banks as he is seeking candidacy for Hennepin County Sheriff. However, you all know that he cannot do this alone. And this is truly for you, the people, about you, the people. And this is a chance for you to kind of get to know Joe and Joe to kind of get to know you. And We'll provide you with a lot of different information as far as how to contact us in case you want to kind of come on down and be part of the show, as far as what you have to offer or your voice to be heard, et cetera, et cetera. If you want us to kind of come to you, we can also make that happen as well. Again, it is imperative that you get involved in your community to have an input on the outcome. So then, therefore, we just don't feel like our voices is not being heard. This is an opportunity for your voice to be heard and for your vote to count. Remember, no vote is a vote, and we will definitely be sharing some of that with you as well. However, before we get started and dive into all of that, we got to turn it over to Joe so he can kind of hit you with some of that famous backpack and some other housekeeping things.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again here with Beeks and myself here on the show. It's been a great day today. I had such good fun out and about in the community, handing out flyers, getting to know the community. So we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off with giving you some housekeeping rules. Make sure that when you chime in that you either hit us up in the inbox, you can phone call us, or you can just simply respond there on the kiosk, and we'll do our best to try to answer your questions. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad question. Everybody gets a chance to ask that question. We just ask that you respect everybody's wishes. Now, with that being said, we start, middle, and end the show with that backpack.
That famous backpack.
And that backpack consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance with you before you get in that vehicle. Make sure you place them above the visor. Make sure you keep your hands where they can be seen. Make sure you stay calm, allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always, make it home to your loved ones. Same thing when you're walking down the street. Make sure you got your ID or driver's license where it's easily accessible. Stay calm. Keep your hand where they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always, make it home to your loved ones.
Absolutely. And again, I just want to kind of piggyback on that for all of our licensed permit to carry holders, our firearm individuals. Again, it's starting to kind of get dark a little earlier in the evening. So please make sure that you are, stopping in a safe place. And as you're rolling down all of your windows, making sure that your dome light is on, making sure that your vehicle is obviously in parked, and turn your vehicle off. All of these things will hopefully ensure that the officer is staying calm and that he or she doesn't feel or believe that you might be up to any shenanigans or anything as such. Again, making sure that your hands and stuff like that there stay in plain view, and inform the officer that you are a permit to carry holder, and then as he or she is giving you any type of directives, do not be shy or afraid to repeat what it is that he or she is asking you to do. So then therefore you both understand what that is, and then again, before you make any movements, let them know that you are about to do that at that particular point in time. And because we do not want any accidents. So with that being said, man, obviously the weather's, getting a little cooler outside.
It is. And, this is our last few little warm days, so make sure you're enjoying it, but also, protect yourself. The later it gets, the cooler it is, so make sure you're putting on proper clothing so you can stay out that hospital.
Absolutely.
It's important, though, when you're out and about in the community, if you're going to have a few drinks, remember to make sure that you get a designated driver or take an Uber or a Lyft.
Absolutely. And again, remember to start bundling them babies up.
Yes.
I've seen too many young ones these days out there on the bus stop, and they just don't seem to be properly dressed. That's just, I guess, my opinion. But, we do not want our babies to kind of, get sick and all that other type of stuff. Again, I want to take a few minutes, again, to give condolences to all of those family members and friends and who have lost loved ones out here, especially our elderly and our babies. It's just a tragedy. We as a community have to kind of start policing ourselves and stepping up and informing the necessary entities, to make sure that we're bringing these individuals to justice. I know that individuals are always talking about, snitching. I ain't snitching. Well, there's a difference between being a snitch and a productive or concerned citizen. Snitches are those that got something to hide or got something to kind of trade, to kind of share, save their own skin. Right. If you're just a concerned community member that works every day and, just being productive, and you're sharing the appropriate information to get, these individuals up off the street. So then therefore your family or your babies or whatever are not the next victims. You're not being a snitch. All right. You're doing your due diligence as a valuable community member. And with that being said, we have had, quite a few individuals that have been overdosing, on fentanyl. There's, I believe the number was like around about 55 individuals.
Yeah, they had like 55 overdoses here in the first 7 days of October. 3 of them actually fatalities.
That's just it's a staggering number, and those 3, could easily be 6. It could easily be 9. Luckily that we have. Various Narcan kits that are readily available that even some of the homeless individuals are, carry with themselves or for their friends or whatever the case may be, because that's just how prevalent this epidemic is.
Yeah, and a lot of the community organizations are giving out naloxone for free. I did see now as well that the Mother's Love is actually giving some out. I think Lisa's got a class coming up here pretty quick. So, make sure you're reaching out in the community, because it's important that everybody has some naloxone. We want to deter folks from using drugs, but if something does happen and you're there in the area, it's great to be able to save somebody's life and bring them back with that naloxone.
Absolutely. And we know how prevalent that using these type of drugs in these homeless encampments and things of that nature. And we know that the city has recently been pretty aggressive, removing these homeless encampments kind of throughout the city. But it we've kind of talked about before is that when you remove something or you take something from someone, you have to kind of give them or offer them something equal or greater than what you are taking from them, right?
Right, and as you know, I think Channel 4 ran a story on this, but I also went out and met with the folks over at the homeless encampment. And in case you guys didn't know, they're camping out at the city hall now in response to the city destroying an encampment this past week. But what I found to be very shocking to me is when I learned that there's possibly people's personal properties being destroyed and set afire and things of that nature. And I think even if you're going to ask people to leave, that you still need to leave them with some type of dignity, right? And in this particular case, I'm not even sure what legal ramifications are there, but I hear that people lost personal medications. They lost personal belongings. There was supplies that were being given to people who were homeless that were lost, sleeping bags, things of that nature. So, it is something that people should take a look at. I know we don't want a negative environment, so to speak, in the area that would cause crime to go up. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we're doing this in such a way that we're providing people to still be able to have their dignity and taking care of the problem. So, I'm not really even sure that it's necessarily a police issue, right? This is more of a civil issue when you got people who are homeless. It almost looks like they criminalized being homeless. And from what I can, and this is just in reading the story, right? It sounds like they showed up with the SWAT team, tank or two, and and fully armored officers for a homeless encampment. And like I said, I spoke with a few of those folks, and there's two sides to every story, which I want to say that. But when I spoke to these folks, some of those folks were actually at work. Right, so they were at work during the time period that the camp was raided, And when they returned home from work, they returned home to everything being scooped up with a tractor and kind of chucked in the garbage. So, there are folks down there at the City Hall that are collecting items on behalf of some of those people. They are camped out there. We did get a little footage on there. Are you able to pull that little footage up from the page at all, from just the guy giving a few seconds of what he had to say about what they were doing out there and why they were out there? That would be great if we can get that. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, that in itself, to me, it struck a chord, because I get community members saying, "Man, listen, this is a haven. Folks are hanging out here. There's crime going on. There's drugs going on. They're hiding stolen items and things of that nature. But we have to still come up with a fix."
Well, and not to cut you off there, but I just like anything else, there's a layer to everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there is a law enforcement concern there. I also do believe that there's a homeless concern there. Again, I believe that there's a mental health, concern there. Some folks, don't want to go into the shelter for various reasons. Maybe they don't even want their own apartment, things of that nature. So I guess my point is that there's various layers there, and so if the police is there, there should have been someone there from a mental health crisis team, the team that they kind of gave all that money to, that was supposed to be out there, boots on the ground, doing that. I mean, so I think that there's a lot of different entities.
Yeah, I think it could have been handled better, but it sounds like they just sent them packing in the middle of the morning. Over 200 people just walking into the city.
Right.
And talking with a few different folks, it sounds like they're kind of moving around every couple of months, so they're not actually fixing it. It's just kind of, they get enough complaints here, and it's like, we'll tear it down and send you on that way. But here's my thought. I understand the law enforcement is there, but I do think that you have to allow people time enough to get their personal items, right? Because they're homeless doesn't make their valuables any less to them, right? So even though they're homeless, they should be allowed to get their medications, tear down their tents themselves. You know what I'm saying? Give them the opportunity. Now, there will always be argument like we gave them notice and they didn't move. There always will be that issue. But at least try to give enough time for folks to at least acknowledge, because in this particular case, it sounded like, yet again, we didn't allow people to acknowledge our presence. We just popped up on the scene. You got 10 minutes to get your stuff and go. When that didn't happen, we just started tearing tents down. I mean, even though they're homeless, you have to remember that people have, if they're surviving, they got pots, pans, they got canned goods. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They're packing up their little home to go. You got to give them that time to go. But in my mind, we have to find some type of designated area. I did a little checking around the states, and I see that they have some legal homeless shelters, encampments. And kind of what they've been doing was, they fenced it in, which was nice because they were able to create boundaries so people couldn't just walk in from whatever. They provided them with a security. They had one officer that was assigned to the camp. And then they had actually put in running water for them. They put a tiny little shed that housed a laundry room and a restroom area.
This is in Minnesota?
No, this was in Nevada that I saw this one in.
All right.
But and I thought maybe, man, that would be something great that they could do here, since the biggest issue is like in this particular case, Channel 4 was saying at the time of this disruption of the encampment, there was only 2 beds open at the shelter that night, so there wasn't the ability there. And when we talk to the people who are there, they're saying, well, listen, the shelter is like a temporary fix. One, they're not going to allow them to bring all their items in. Right, and don't have any place to store those items. And then second of all, they have to qualify. And I didn't know that they have to qualify for the shelters now. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. So,
but it's things like that we got to figure something out. But I just wanted to draw some attention to the fact that, we have to do a better job, even with our homeless population, that getting these people some help, some kind of way. Like we said, you got to try and trade them something. I really think that if we could get a designated area, and you can't save everybody, you're not going to save everybody, but if we can get a designated area, have folks feel safe to some degree, kind of this is a safe zone. You can't come in here with the drugs. You just can't, right? And then at the same time, let's have someone from housing go in and gradually be rotating people into permanent housing, right? So you're in the encampment every day working on getting these people into permanent housing. I think if you can do something like that, and it has to be a pathway, because remember, a lot of these folks have criminal backgrounds and things, you know what I mean? So you have to have some partnerships that are going to say, even though they've got all this, you know, we're gonna give them a pathway to housing. And I think that, you know, the other thing unique for me was remembering that when they said, yeah, some of those people were at work, was let you know that they're not just like all people that are just, I don't care, you know what I mean? The guy's at work, he's coming home to the tent because that he can't maybe afford to rent, or he don't have background that would get him in, you know what I mean? So that lets me know that we need to take a closer look, if nothing else, and see how we can fix this.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to watch a couple of clips here real quick about it, and then we'll kind of come back to it here.
Yeah.
Do you have any volume on that?
If not, you can go to my page. I actually have a little article. I let the guy Jason talk for a hot second on my page.
Heated argument on Twitter between a resident and the city's top man for public safety.
Oh, I forgot about that. But that's something else.
Alexander responded by saying it shows increased visibility. Enough of the two-faced talking from both sides of your mouth already, he said. Well, the heated exchange continued for several tweets. Alexander has since said he regrets the tone of his replies. Fox 9 asked the city of
Sorry, this is not what you're looking for. Okay.
No.
Well,
but if you go on my page,
well, wait a minute. Why not talk about it since we're here? Huh? So
yeah, exactly.
No.
Absolutely. Since you didn't played it, we're going to talk about it. So we have the city of Minneapolis newest hire, I guess, if you will, that what is he? The city of Minneapolis is
Commissioner of Public Safety.
Commissioner of Public Safety, and there was some questions about I guess kind of what he's doing and how he's doing and so on and so forth. And he actually kind of got into this debate, kind of going back and forth with various community members, which he said some things that was not, I guess, maybe politically correct, you know, we will say. And so, as you can see, it hit the news. I'm sure that you have many people that have various views and opinions on it. I'm just going to say this here because I'm going to keep it real. There's certain folks that's backing him, you know, and supporting him based off of what he said. I think that there's various factors on why, you know, he's getting backing from various entities, and obviously it's funding. You know, I think folks is receiving various funding, you know, from the city. So then, therefore, they have to feel like they're forming some type of camaraderie in order to kind of coming to Mr. Alexander's defense. I'm not saying that he needed to be defended or not. I'm just saying that's just my opinion. I guess I wasn't technically part of that conversation, so I guess I can't get too far into it. I will say this here. The city of Minneapolis, and again, before we kind of get there, I know that we talk about Minneapolis a lot. This is not to pick on the city of Minneapolis.
No one controls anything.
We are not, you know, trying to downplay or whatever the case may be with the city of Minneapolis. We do know that there's a lot of issues and concerns within Minneapolis. And in those type of positions, you just can't make everybody happy all the time, right?
True.
But I would like to see a lot more transparency, you know, within these positions and within these individuals or entities that they're giving all of this money to. So then, therefore, we would have a better understanding of where our money is going, how it's being spent, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So if you, I guess I would like to kind of quote exactly what he said, if we can kind of get that back up there a little bit or whatever the case may be, or just play that segment. But again, we just really.
No, that's Jason now.
We need some volume on that.
No, that's not. That's
Fox 9 camera spotting.
There we go.
And it's part of a plan for more visibility throughout the city. But it's that exact tactic sparking a heated argument on Twitter between a resident and the city's top man for public safety. A Minneapolis citizen on Twitter questioned Dr. Cedric Alexander about several empty squads in downtown. Alexander responded by saying it shows increased visibility. Enough of the two-faced talking from both sides of your mouth already, he said. Well, the heated exchange continued for several tweets. Alexander has since said he regrets the tone of his replies. Fox 9 asked the city of Minneapolis if the commissioner violated the city's social media policy. Well, city officials say they're in the process of reviewing that situation.
Advocates for the homeless are camping out at Minneapolis City Hall. This comes after the city cleared out several homeless encampments in the last week.
What was the policy? Because he responded?
City officials say
Yeah.
the camps posed a public
Some of the
health
words that
and
he
public
used.
safety risk. Advocates say they have one demand here. They want to stop the destruction of those encampments.
A lot of us advocates got together and we're like, we have to do something. You know, this is kind of a breaking point. Winter's coming. You know, people are going to freeze outside. They're going to lose limbs. People aren't getting adequate health care, shelter, food. This is a fight for their lives.
Those advocates say they will be at City Hall as long as they can. They have a rally and supply drive planned for tomorrow. The city has a meeting on Tuesday. That's where
I got him on.
their homeless
Jason,
response.
I got him on there.
All right. Well, obviously that was two different segments there, but that's quite all right. We're going to go ahead and just skip
Are
on
we
past.
able to go to my page and just pull that up?
Yes, I can get that 1 second. I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and skip right on past the city of Minneapolis and their shenanigans regarding those going back and forth on Facebook or whatever the case may be. Hey, I guess I wish the gentleman, the best of luck, while he's here, however long that will be. And I guess I just hope that the city of Minneapolis is able to work together, and do what needs to be done, to bring the necessary safety and security, to the city, because we know that here shortly there's going to be a new sheriff. We know here shortly there's going to be a new chief of police in the city of Minneapolis. We know that there's going to be a new
Prosecutor.
Yeah, prosecutor here,
county.
real soon. We know that even over in the city of St. Paul, there's getting ready to be a new chief. We know that the mayor is currently on his way in his last term. So there's a lot of different things that's going to be changing here.
Go to my article, unless you want to go. Yeah, go to my article. It's a little bit shorter.
Are they?
Oh, I thought you wanted the one that was on your page.
Yeah. Just above there is a little bit shorter one that I had in there. Just a quick little blurb that I did. Or you can do this one. This was fine. Yeah, we can do this.
We're going to get it together sometime here, y'all.
This one's fine too.
Message about how the city treats people experiencing homelessness.
Protesters set up tents Sunday on the steps of Minneapolis City Hall. It's where they plan to sleep.
We stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters.
The mini encampment is a response to the city evicting people experiencing homelessness this week from encampments of their own. Young Eagle, who until recently was without housing himself, was there when police cleared the area.
People were given, I believe, about 5 minutes to get their stuff and go. People left behind possessions that they desperately needed: papers, medications, cell phones.
The protesters want a city moratorium on destroying encampments.
It is disgusting to treat people that don't have a place to live as if they're criminals.
The city says one of the cleared encampments west of downtown was creating health and safety issues.
We talked to multiple people who live very close to here, and they were mostly glad the encampment's gone. One man told us he would see a lot of drug use here, and he feels much more comfortable now.
But activists don't see evictions as a solution. They believe funding permanent housing should be at the top of the list.
There's public buildings that are being unused that could be, turned into public housing. There's empty lots that could be built upon. there could be sanctioned encampments and harm reduction services.
The city says most of the people at the encampments declined the help of resources or a shelter. But Sunday night, there were only 2 shelter beds in Hennepin County available anyway. In Minneapolis, David Schumann, WCCO 4 News.
There will be a supply drive starting in the morning outside City Hall to help the people who are
just
evicted.
as a quick,
Activists say they need bedding, sleeping bags, warm clothes,
we got to
and
get
tents.
in front of it. But my biggest thing is let's do it with dignity.
Realtor.com has
do it
rentals.
with dignity.
Searching
Leave
on
people some dignity
Realtor.com
and
is
pride.
so
And
easy. You can
let's
filter
not
for
just destroy
anything.
people's items, because if they're homeless already and you're destroying the last little hope of that, what they have, to us it's like, oh, that's just a bunch of stuff. But to a guy who doesn't have nothing else in the world, his medication and stuff like that.
Well, here's the question for you.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can kind of look at it from multiple different ways, but I do know that having a security company and providing services to a couple different places, that we've had some issues, with homeless encampments on that property, and we didn't get any assistance from the city or nobody else. So then therefore, whatever actions we took, we had to take. And it was definitely some health issues there. There was some safety concerns because they were kind of cooking and burning grass and so on and so forth. So then my question to you is, if you are in the position of Hennepin County Sheriff, because homelessness ain't going to go away,
right.
We're going to have this for a long time to come. So you being in a position with the high volume of homelessness people that we have within Hennepin County, how would you address it?
I would simply start looking for areas to talk to the city and county about designating for encampments. I mean, right now we have the governor running around here saying that he got this surplus money that he don't know what to do with. I mean, this is the things that we're talking about, is that it's constantly no clear path as to how we're going to attack this. Now, the county has built affordable housing in certain areas. The city has built housing in certain areas, but we haven't really attacked the issue that there's people out here with needs. And then you got 2 things. You got the one situation when you as a property manager in security, and having that property manager say, Liz, this is our private property. These folks don't get to be here because we don't want them here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you got to support them because they still get to say who they want on their property. And at the same time, you also have people that are squatting on public lands that you for all intensive purposes, you still have to have some sense of general safety for the community. But if you have a designated area, you can kind of funnel people toward, right? Like, hey, you can't be here, but if you go down there, they can offer you some services. Now, you can't force people to go. They have the right to go, I'm good right here. And at some point, you may have to do something then. But the goal is to definitely try to put in place, again, with community and collaborative efforts, between different partnerships, psychiatry issues, mental health issues, getting them supplies, things of that nature. But you want to be working on it together. So, because, it gets cold in Minnesota. It gets cold in Minnesota. And I keep thinking about the young lady that we had a week or 2 ago, wrapped up in that blanket in the middle of the highway, and I'm thinking somebody could have ran her over at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Not paying attention, because I honestly thought she was just a blanket on the side of the road, and realized that's a person, right? And then I noticed she was shivering, and when the PD got there, of course, she became very, uncooperative and irate and refused services. But the thing of it is, she was less than 4 blocks from a fire department, and so are we getting out checking on people and stuff like that? So,
well, I will say this, and hopefully that we can kind of end this and kind of move on to the next topic. But our winners, come every year, and like you said, you would think that by this time that we would have had something in place, to better help support, the situations that we have pertaining to those that are homeless, that's facing other different, obstacles as well. But again, that does not seem to be happening. I'm definitely in support of making sure that these folks are not freezing to death, that they're not losing limbs, and things of that nature. But then that also, impacts other health problems. So
it's a tough choice because even for the police officers who don't want to be the bad guys, right? They don't want to be the bad guys. They're there because someone has ordered them to take some type of divisive action, right? It just looks bad from a PR standpoint when you have the SWAT team here for a homeless encampment and we're having troubles getting a police officer to respond to the shots fired call 2 blocks away.
Absolutely.
So it's either we have cops or we don't. That's my point on that. But if we do have to get out here, are there some really softer ways to, you know what I mean? Do we have, because I don't want to throw the cops under the bus and make it look like, they're the city's own personal little army.
Right,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
But we know that they're there to make sure that people move on safely and they don't bring harm to those who are trying to clear the encampment. But at the same time, it's like, man, what are we really doing here when we wake people up in the middle of the morning, a cold morning, and any morning for that matter, but we wake up in the middle of the morning and go, get up and go and grab as much as you can and everything's gone. I just want to see them at least get their items. As long as they're moving, packing, and then go, fine. But at least send them on their way with an option. Not just as long as you're not here, you can go on your business. But we're cleaning this out. But if you go over here, right, here's where you can be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because what they're saying is that this happens every couple months. So it's like, you just said we were fine here. Of course, there's always going to be some bad elements that show up and want to, crash the party. There are going to be some people that are actually doing the bad things.
Right.
But it doesn't mean everybody is. And so we have to have a really larger lens, because if we burn down every apartment every time somebody committed a crime, we would be burning buildings every day. But needless to say, take a look in it, check it out.
All right. Well, man, we're a little bit over that halfway mark, so we can kind of quickly hit him with that backpack and some other housekeeping things, because we have quite a few other topics that we need to get to.
Yeah. So, as you know, we start, middle, and end this show with that backpack, and we're at that middle, so we're going to go ahead and hit you with that backpack.
Yes, indeedy.
That consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance with you before you get in that vehicle. Make sure you place them above the visor so they're easily accessible. So if stopped by law enforcement, it won't be confused for a weapon. Remember to stay calm. Keep your hands where they can be seen, and as always, make it home to your loved ones. Same thing if you're walking down the street. Make sure you got your license or ID where it's easily accessible. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Remember to stay calm. Allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always make it home to your loved one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, quickly, man, when you kind of talk about the backpack,
yes,
you had brought something to my attention before the show that I don't have too much information on, but it definitely sounded extremely interesting, something that I definitely want to look into a little bit further, just to see exactly how feasible this would be for the average individual that might kind of come in contact with law enforcement, on the street or, traffic stop or whatever the case may be. And you said something it was called turn signal.
Right.
And can you kind of explain a little bit more kind of what that is and maybe and how it's used and, if there's kind of a fee attached to that? And
yeah, so are we able to pull that up at all on the screen at all?
What are you looking for? Turn signal?
Yeah.
I can check it out 1 second.
So anyway, what turn signal is it's basically a digital backpack, right? If you get pulled over by law enforcement, you have access to a lawyer that'll be live fed into your phone from the front of the camera, so they can actually see the officer in you. They can give you legal advice on what you should or should not be doing during that stop, if you should or should not respond, right? And it automatically begins to record to your iCloud, right? This kind of helps to keep the officer honest, and it also helps to keep the defendant honest.
Okay.
So from what I understand, it's about $6.99 a month for the general service, and I think it's an additional $100 a month to have access to certain type of legal counsel. So and it's just getting off the ground. I am going to meet with a gentleman here this week to talk some more about it. But when it was brought to my attention, I thought that this is what we're doing to backpack. And this would be really great to have because, people could have this in their car, hopefully, when they're driving and they get pulled over. This will make them feel a little bit safer, make them feel a little more relaxed so that both the officer and the individual can be confident that they're going to leave that situation safely.
So do we know kind of what, those general services are, that they would be paying $6.99 for?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
I mean, because I guess with just times being kind of as tough as they are, and people just kind of facing various challenges. Now we know that people kind of get pulled over every day, throughout the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some more in certain communities than others. But would that be something that would be feasible? Or do you think that individuals would be more interested in still, going Facebook Live and stuff like that there?
No, it's called turn signal. I don't know what that is.
Turn signal backpack. Ain't that what you talking about?
No. That I don't know what that was. But
it says stop and go that way.
Yeah.
Level for 8 now. That's awesome.
So obviously there's a couple things out there called turn signal backpack.
Yeah. Let me see if I can send him a copy of this quick here.
But I don't know. I guess I will have to learn more about it in order for me to be able to give a true opinion.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Yeah, but when I looked at it, I think the thing that I liked at it, and I think they're actually developing it even more as we go. But I think the thing that I liked about it was the possibility of actually having, someone that you can actually talk to that's a lawyer, and that's
for $100 a month.
For $100 a month, I think it's the lawyer, but just to get in, and I think depending on what it is, and like I said, I got to do some more homework on it. But for $6.99, you get access to talk to a person that is a lawyer for a few seconds while you're being pulled over on that stop. Just going to give you generic legal advice, kind of like, hey, keep your hands so they can be seen, or maybe blow or don't blow, or talk to the officer. And it's voice activated, it automatically records. I think it's gonna save a lot of people from going to jail is what it's gonna do. I think it's gonna be a good program.
Well, I would like to see some tests, being done on this here. I think honestly that this would complicate a traffic stop a little bit more, because I can see you paying $6.99, and then you're in a situation that would probably put you in the $100 packet, and then therefore that attorney or whomever you're talking to is telling you, well, I can't answer that right now for you, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so it works out to, it says get you 24/7 access to an attorney, guidance, and a welcome kit with the subscription, or choose the annual plan for only $60 a year, or $6.99 a month. So I mean, it's in my mind, I just think it helps to create a sense of security for folks that didn't think they had anything. And there's other apps out there that are similar to that. But since the George Floyd situation, a lot of agencies out there are now vying to see what they can do to keep the community safe. There's actually different apps like that pop up when you get stopped. They actually notify family members and friends of your location, and they start to record the address and stuff that you've been stopped. And it has seemed to kind of make a difference, because I think the goal is not necessarily to hold the cops as accountable, which it does to some degree, but it just kind of calms the person down and lets them know that, hey, even though you're being pulled over, you're not alone, and hopefully you're going to leave the situation better than you started. So.
Well, I think.
Here it is. Here he's got some of it up there. You want to scroll it from top to bottom a little bit, just so we can take a peek at that. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna definitely we're going to have a part 2 on this. And I'm going to have to definitely get some further information.
No, we are. The actual guy who's in charge of this is going to come in and have a show with us. I'm meeting with him this week. Okay. But I wanted to bring attention to this because this is a service that's currently already being used in quite a few states. So, and they've gotten a lot of pretty good feedback on it. But, you know, he'll be able to come on and give a little more detail on it. But it has been approved to be placed in vehicles as an app, pre-placed app in vehicles moving forward in the future. So this app is at some point is going to be in everybody's car.
So similar to an OnStar, you can pay for it if you want it. If you don't want it, then you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I guess it's good to have options. You know, so then therefore, if you need it, it's there. If you don't feel like you want it, then, you know, you just kind of, you know, keep it moving and kind of continue to be, you know, a law-abiding citizen. And hopefully that, you know, you don't have these negative stops by, you know, the police or whatever the case may be, and everything's all good. But
yeah, I do. I love the video portion of it. I don't know if I really like what the attorneys may advise you to do because they're not actually there to see what's happening. But I do like the fact that it's going to have some video because I think that kind of protects the officer and the individual. Because if your client's going crazy in that seat, you know, now I've got a legal professional that says, yeah, I kind of told him to, you know, not to do that. And then, you know, but the question now, here's the kicker, right? So there's always two sides to everything, and we'll see what happens with this. But, you know, are there going to be incidents where people are kind of stuffing things away that they shouldn't? And the attorney guy is like, what are you doing? So I can't wait to talk to Michael to see exactly what this does and what kind of insight they've gotten from it and statistical data on it. But I did want to throw this out there as a precursor to say, look, guys, this was brought to my attention. It was almost like a digital version of my backpack, you know. But I really think that I want to see more. I want to see more.
Absolutely. When he comes on, I'm going to have a whole bunch of questions for Mr. Michael. So, Mr. Michael, be ready now. Be ready.
Yeah, Michael.
So you have a forum that you will be doing tomorrow.
Yes. 2 actually. But yeah, the second one I have to get the location on there again. But the first one for sure is at North Hennepin Community College. Was it North Hennepin College?
North Hennepin Community College?
Yeah.
And that's at 8 o'clock a.m.?
Yes, from 8 to 10, I believe it is.
Okay. And is that going to be like a community conversation with you and the other candidate and other
I believe it's going to be the Hennepin County prosecutors candidates and also the Hennepin County Sheriff candidate. So there'll be a moderator there. They'll ask some questions, and I think then we'll have some Q&A and a little questions from the community too.
Absolutely. So again, you know, if you can, I know it's early in the morning, 8 o'clock, but if you can make it, North Hennepin Community College, you know, kind of come on out, get some of your questions answered, or better yet, come on down here where we at, MCN 6, sit right next to us and get some of your questions answered, or have us come right on out there to you, wherever you at, we can make that happen too, and get your questions answered. Because again, it is imperative that you get involved and that you have an input on the outcome. Again, your voice is definitely necessary to be heard. So you have been you know, at this for a while. This is kind of like your second turn around the corner as far as running for Hennepin County Sheriff. Last time, you know, there were some positive things that we kind of took away. You know, we felt that we could have done better, you know, so on and so forth. And honestly, now, I mean, I think, you know, I feel like we've kind of put almost together a dream team, you know, with the people that you have in your corner, that we have on the team. You know, but most important, you know, it's the people, you know, that we have been kind of connecting with, the people that have been giving you feedback because they know and they hear the genuality, even if that's a word, coming from you. As we're meeting with these folks, and they're seeing the genuineness, in your words and your tone of voice, and how you're out here, in these hot spots, if you will, as things are kind of occurring, and that is, I believe, is what the community needs. I think that they start to kind of feel a lot better, when they see the top, individuals out there, rolling up their sleeves, boots on the ground, being able to answer the questions in real time, versus, trying to come up with some, mock answer, after evaluating something or whatever the case may be. So just, if you can, just give a kind of like a 2-minute overview, if you will, of kind of about your campaign.
Yeah, so it's a grassroots campaign. I'm not a Republican and not Democrat. We're running it independently, and it's strictly on the voice of the people. I have made it through the primary because the people believe in me. I'm listening to the people. We're putting in place measures that will address those concerns that the people have said that they have. And I think what's unique about my campaign is that I've been able to actually get out here in the community in some of these high crime areas and meet with community members and talk about their concerns. What's been unique to learn is that, and sometimes you take it for granted, you think that people have a working knowledge of how the process works, and you find out they're amazed when you tell them, oh, no, you have rights. You could have done this, or you should have did this, or they should have did that. And I say, well, nobody ever told us about that. And so then you realize that you're doing the right thing, because we're creating a pathway to empower people, to empower the community through education and knowledge of what their rights are, what the policies are, what the procedure should be, what the sheriff's place should be or role should be in the community.
Yep.
And so that is highly important. We're asking people from the community to be a part of this movement, to apply for those jobs, to put yourself in a position to be those guardians of your community. We're definitely, we have a large group now to feel empowered, like their voice matters, right? And that's important, that they get a chance to see, that my voice matters. I can make a change, because the power comes from the people. Right? It comes from the people, and it doesn't make a difference how much I put together. Any plan that doesn't include the people is a bad plan, right? And so my plan allows everybody to come to the table, and I think that's what I liked about running independent, is that it gives me the ability to bring everybody to the table, and give them a shot at an opinion, and possibly helping us to solve what's happening in our community, which is the lower violent crime. And so that takes me right into the fact that my plan, the lower violent crime, involves, attaching a deputy to each one of the departments so that we can get information in real time, attaching software to that deputy so that he's getting information with use of force issues that the community will be able to see. We're going to be able to hire people from the community, given real stats about who we actually have on the ground with logistics that way, and then in collaborating with the community. And then we'll identify and solve problems throughout Hennepin County.
Absolutely. And so voting, how was voting? Because I know that we've already had early registration.
Yeah, so early voting started on September the 23rd, so you can get out and head to your local polling places and make some connections and start voting as of September 23rd. They're saying just allow 7 days for the mailing process, if you're going to be mailing it in, to take effect. So if you don't wait till the last minute. The last day of early voting is November the 7th, with the general election actually being on November the 8th. So it's important, if you do want to vote early, that you get it in sooner than later. And that way it's still going to be counted. And then if you're confused about where you can go to vote or where precinct you should be voting in, make sure that you're checking with the local Hennepin County Election Committee to determine whether or not where you should go to place your vote. And also make sure you're registered to vote.
Absolutely. Well, man, we are rounding that corner of to the end of another fabulous show. I did want to kind of talk briefly, just about a couple of things. It has kind of struck a chord in me, I guess, if you will. We have lost like 3 or 4 extremely young, law enforcement officials, over the last week or so. It's been a very short period of time, and these young folks are just kind of starting their careers. I think one had only been on for 2 weeks. One been on like a year, whatever the case may be. But they were 21, 22, 27 years of age. Things of that nature, and it's just a tragedy. Any life to be lost, right? Under any circumstances, other than natural death and things of that nature. But we have these fine young men and women out here that has chosen to pick up that torch to be able to provide public safety, in their communities, and unfortunately, they are placed in some very troubling situations to where they end up tragically losing their lives. And I just want to give out condolences to their family and friends and their loved ones, their fellow officers that don't even know you, current and former. We all feel the pain, behind that. So again, my condolences.
Yeah, I mean, the thing of it is, too, we can't forget that these are people behind the badge. Since the George Floyd incident, they're a little bit more highly scrutinized than they were before. But it's always been a dangerous job, right? It's always been a very dangerous job because we meet people, in most cases, on their worst day every day.
Absolutely.
And so it's important that we still remember that the courage that it takes for these young folks to show up in uniform every day and still do the job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, kudos to them, and we're proud of what they do.
Well, on a good note, if you will, as we kind of phase on up out of here, I just want to say hooray and congratulations to my Minnesota Vikings.
He found a way to get that in here, huh?
You didn't see that one coming. We got a Pittsburgh Steeler over here to my left, and it's just one of those things that they done lost their little quarterback Roethlisberger, and yeah, they've been struggling this year.
Well, the one. Let me just say this. Being a championship caliber team, we know that there are ups and downs, and with Pickett, we're gonna go ahead and work these kinks out and possibly make it here to the postseason. Now, I think the Vikings have a really good organization, and we're happy that this year the jerseys are going to be sold at full price for at least 2 more games. No, but with real sight, the Vikings are doing pretty good. They always seem to have either offense and no defense, and a defense and no offense. But I mean, right now they're clicking on all cylinders. They're fighting through some tight games. But the most important part of it is, I don't know, I'm not a Vikings fan, but I've watched them closely for years. The thing that I liked now about the Vikings is they're starting to finish games, right? Because
absolutely.
They used to just put on this air show, and it was like, woo, they are killing folks, right?
Right.
And then you go to the bathroom, come back, it's like, what happened? We're down 5? So now it's nice to actually see that these guys are fighting. Even when they get down, they're still fighting. And when you look at that scoreboard and you look at that clock, there's less than 3 minutes on the clock, and you can't get out of your seat because you got to see the end of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you're definitely getting the money that you paid for. So kudos to the Vikings for doing what they need to do as sports heroes.
Yes. Well, I'm happy with our 4-1 and 3-0 in the division, and at the top of the division right now. And those division wins is definitely going to come in handy come towards the end of the season. because we still got to face Green Bay and Chicago and Detroit one more time apiece.
Right.
Our next opponent is, I believe it's Miami Dolphins down in Miami, I believe, which I think is definitely a winnable game. But, yeah.
And unfortunately, the Vikings will go down and hopefully do a good job, and let me say this, I'm using that restraint for the Purple Pride out there, I don't know if has anybody out there been to a Vikings game. It's a very unique experience. Listen, my Steelers played here last year against the Vikings, and I think they touched us up pretty good, but the thing that got me was that skull and that horn and goal. It was like, really? Is this a real thing? But so if you haven't been to a Vikings game, man, at least go there for the experience. The stadium is designed nicely, and it really puts you almost on the field no matter where you're sitting in the house. So
absolutely,
yeah, go Vikings.
All right. Well, man, again, we're down to another fabulous end of Let's Talk About It Wednesday. Again, this is Joseph Banks, campaign, grassroots campaign as he seeks candidacy for Hennepin County Sheriff. Again, he cannot do this alone, right? It is imperative that you get part of the movement and get involved in your community, however that looks for you. There's many lanes out there for you to be able to travel in. Again, you can kind of donate. You can kind of come out and volunteer your time, and there's a host of other things that you can do. Come on down here onto the show so then therefore we can, hear your voice and have your voice be heard. We can come out to you. But again, please, please, please get involved. We said this before, get to know your neighbors, right? Because when you see a community that is cared about and well taken care of, those individuals that are out there in the community doing the silly stuff typically kind of moves on to other areas and other communities that are not as well taken care of. So we got to get involved, got to take care of our communities, our neighbors, form whatever type of block club, community events, stuff just outside of National Night Out, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things that can be done. But again, Joe, we are down to the end of another fabulous show. Mm-hmm. My name's Antoine Beeks. I have a security company, WSC Protective Agency. We are a full-fledged security company. We have a variety of different services that we offer. Please feel free to contact me at 612-978-6066. Again, 612-978-6066. And I will be more than happy to answer all of your questions. I'm also a firearms instructor, so if you are looking for firearms classes, please feel free to contact me, 612-702-9849. Again, 612-702-9849. Familiarizational classes for those with little or no shooting experience, permit to carry classes, and then also recertification classes. And even if you just have a question in regards to the law or just questions about whatever type of gun you think that you should get and things of that nature, I am always a resource, even if you have not taken my class. But don't worry about it. After I talk to you, you'd be more than willing to take my recertification class. So again, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to you so you can go ahead and close it on out.
All right. Again, guys, thanks everybody for joining us today. As usual, it's been a great show. And we want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm trying to pull up this little thing here just so I can get this information out before we slide out of here. I do want to draw a little attention to, the Anaya Allen case that's still unsolved right there. I did want to make sure that Brother K.G. Wilson, who was a activist in the community, get a little help with trying to find out who is responsible for the death of his granddaughter. So in case you guys didn't know, there's still a reward out there for any information leading to the arrest or or prosecution of the individual responsible. If you have that information, you can go to 1-800-222-8477. That's 1-800-222-8477, or www.crimestoppers.org. That's www.crimestoppers.org, or the Minneapolis Violent Crime Division at 612-673-2941. 612-673-2941. So just want to make sure that, go ahead.
I just wanted to hop in real quick and just say that there are a host of other, young folks and babies and stuff out there as well. Their homicides or their murders have not been solved as well. So please, you can use those same numbers that was given in the same website, I'm sure, to be able to provide any information on any homicide, that has happened within Hennepin County. I know right now I believe our number is 71, at this point in time for the city of Minneapolis. That's not a number to brag about, and I'm not even going to kind of talk about it, any further, and I'm just going to leave it right there.
All righty. So moving on forward, then, we're going to make sure that you go to our website, which is banksforsheriff.com. That's BANKS, the number 4, sheriff.com. Make sure you go on our page, check it out, or you can reach me at joelawman@hotmail.com. That's JOELAWMAN@hotmail.com. All right. Or you can go on the webpage on Facebook and reach us at Banks for Sheriff. My number, you can reach me at the 763-221-4724. Again, it's 763-221-4724 with any questions or anything like that. If you go to the webpage, remember there's a contact sheet you can fill out. And if you want some information or need to talk to somebody, we will actually get back to you on that. Again, remember the election is November the 8th. Make sure you're ready to go November the 8th.
And again, if you're going to do early voting, remember, leave about a good 7 to 8 days in order for that to travel through the mail. All right? So don't wait until the last minute and try and get that done. Yes. Because a no vote is a vote.
Exactly. And we want to ask that you remember to donate, because it's a grassroots campaign. So remember, we're getting these flyers out. If you get one of these flyers in that upper left-hand corner, is that the upper right-hand corner? Looking to the camera there. Upper right-hand corner, you'll see that there's this little QR code. You can scan that QR code, and it will bring you directly to the donation page where you can get your donation in. Again, your donations go toward getting these flyers, getting those street signs, and getting the word out. So we're definitely appreciative of all the people who have supported us, continue to support us as we move forward to this journey of becoming Hennepin County's next sheriff to keep you, the people, the most important assets, safe in the county. With that being said, we're going to hit you with that last backpack.
Got to get in with that backpack.
Right, that backpack consists of making sure you got your driver's license and insurance with you before you get in that vehicle. Make sure you place it above the visor, and it is easily accessible so it won't be confused for a weapon that's stopped by law enforcement. Remember to let the officer go through his spiel. Make sure to stay calm, and as always, make it home to your loved ones. Same thing when walking down the street. If you got your driver's license and ID in an easily accessible place, remember to stay calm. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Let the officer go through his spiel. Say it again. Allow the officer to explain to you why he's having contact with you. All right? And then, as always, make it home to your loved ones.
Absolutely.
All righty. With that being said, thank you guys for joining in and chiming in. It was a great day. We're looking for a great day tomorrow out there on the road, the campaign road. I'll see you out there. My name is Joe Banks.
And I'm Antoine Beeks.
And we just talked about it.
Peace.